Hello everyone, this is Orlando from A Collector's Dream, and I'm out here today relaxing and doing another video. And one of the things I want to show you today is I won a contest from Garrett at Ballpark Memories. And if you don't know Garrett, you got to check out his channel. It's Ballpark Memories. He just passed 700 subscribers, and he's a young guy. Garrett's probably, I think he's 20 or 21 years old, and he just bought his first Babe Ruth card, as you can see there. Take a look at that. So basically he had a contest. You know, I enter these contests and stuff not really to win anything, just to be a part of the community, but in this case I won. So he sent me this 55 Jim Gilliam. Thanks for watching and commenting. Keep up the great work with your own channel and showcasing your outstanding collection. Garrett, Ballpark Memories. So Garrett sent me this. I want to thank him for that. He has an awesome channel. You know, Garrett is a young vintage collector, and if you guys are interested in some of the lower end vintage, he has a lot of that stuff which he is selling. So here he is, Vintage Baseball. That's his Twitter. Garrett's a great guy. So he basically sells cards, goes to shows, buys and sells to build up his collection. And he's built an incredible collection already for such a young guy. He's got a Mickey Mantle rookie card, even though it's marked. It's a Mickey Mantle rookie card, 51 Bowman. He has a Babe Ruth he just got, and a bunch of other really awesome cards. So just wanted to show you this Jim Gilliam 1955 Bowman that he sent me. Nice card. Thank you so much, Garrett, for sending me this card. I really appreciate it. And this was, you know, an outstanding rookie in 1953, Jim Gilliam for the Dodgers. Great player. So I really appreciate that. The other thing I want to show today is, and I'll leave that here. I'll leave that there. Garrett's note here. I keep all the notes and everything here, so I'll keep the note with the card. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate it, my friend. Keep up the great videos, keep up the great work, and hopefully I'll see you at the National. So the other thing I want to talk about today was that when I was at a live stream with yesterday, I was listening to Rob, the sports card therapist, and Dustin, the sports card dad, and they were talking about culture cards. You know, everything is from Einstein cards all the way to, of course, you know, all the cards that they were talking about. It was just a bunch of stuff, music cards, and you know, just the rest of the stuff. And I commented in one of the things, and I said that I had a Buffalo Bill card, which I've shown this. I've shown it in one of the last videos. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about this because I really kind of flashed through it when I showed this card. I didn't talk much about Buffalo Bill or really talk much about the card itself. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because during the live stream, one of my best buddies, subscribers, friends, Mike Petty, him and I really are exactly alike, similar in collecting styles, and we have pretty much the same taste and very similar. I mean, me and him, I don't know, he's got to be my collecting twin there, and with a great sense of humor. So in the chat, he was talking about, you know, they were talking about different things, and I said, hey, I got a Playing Days card from Buffalo Bill from 1888, and you know, Mike Petty said, no, he, you know, I guess they had never seen it, didn't believe it, or whatever it was. But either way, I wanted to give you a good look at it. And I want to talk about Buffalo Bill because it says here, champion of the Wild West Hunters. And I want to talk about why he got that title. And this is a Playing Days. This is the back. The back is just the same as usual for the Goodwin Champions, but it basically is Buffalo Bill, and Buffalo Bill was a legend. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of zoom in a little bit on the Buffalo Bill card here. I'm going to talk a little bit about about him in a little bit. His name is really Bill Cody, and he was born in 1846. Remember, this is a card from 1888, so this is during the time that he was doing his performing and all that. But the interesting thing about him is that he was riding horses from being a young kid, and his father, Isaac Cody, he was a very kind of influential guy, and he basically was, this is the time around where there were the slaves and everything. This is the Civil War. I mean, guys, this card was made just a few years after the Civil War. And during that time, Buffalo Bill's father, Isaac Cody, he was against slavery. And right before the Civil War started, he was invited to speak at a store called Rively Store, a local trading post where pro-slavery men often held meetings. His anti-slavery speech so angered the crowd that they threatened to kill him if he didn't step down. A man jumped up and stabbed him twice with a Bowie knife, and the store owner rushed Cody to get treatment, but he never really recovered from his injuries. And so, his father really passed away young in 1857, and Cody had to take over. So the family suffered financially, and at age 11, Bill took a job as the boy extra. He was a horseback. He would ride the up and down the length of the wagon train, delivering messages between the drivers of the wagon train and the workmen that were behind it. This is the times when, of course, they were going west and building highways and building railroads. So Buffalo Bill was one of the ones that was doing that, and he was going, out west. And his career as he had to fight. They had to fight the Indians. They had to fight, everything that was out there, all the animals and everything and all that stuff. So I want to read a quote from his own story about the Utah War, because he was in the war, and he had to fight against the Indians. And this is when he was young, and he was, I think he was 14 years old at the time. And this is one of the things that he wrote. It says, "Presently the moon rose. Dead ahead of me, the painted boldly across its face was a figure of an Indian. He wore this war bonnet of the Sioux. At his shoulder was a rifle pointed at someone in the river bottom 30 feet below." Remember, he was a scout at the time for the Civil War. I didn't tell you, he was a scout. So, while they were going out there, and he says, in another second, the Indian would drop one of my friends. He killed him. I raised my old muzzle loader and fired. The figure collapsed, tumbled down the bank, and loaded with a splash in the water. "What is it?" called McCarthy as he hurried back. "It's over there in the water." "Hi," he cried. "Little Billy's killed an Indian all by himself." So began his career as an Indian fighter. And again, it might sound bad, but in those days, that's what they were doing. That was the fight. And he got at age 14, he got caught up in the gold fever with I'll highlight a little bit more. This is uniform and stuff. He got caught up in the gold fever and was going to California. On his way to the gold fields, he met an agent for the Pony Express, and they signed him, and he became a Pony Express rider, delivering the mail from different places over and over. He was an incredible rider, horse rider. And then in 1866, he was reunited with an old friend, Wild Bill Hickok, in Junction City, and they were both serving as scouts at the time. And they basically competed against each other, because one of the things they had to do was with the construction of the Pacific Highway, the railway, not the highway, the railway. Cody was granted a leave of absence to hunt buffalo and supply the railroad construction workers with meat. And this started in back in the 1868. And at the time they hired a few people to do that, and because they had to feed all of these guys that were building the thing. So and there was a contest where he challenged a bunch of other guys, and there was a couple of guys. One was William Comstock, who also was called Bill. So they challenged each other to the to do a hunting, how many buffalo they can get. And in those, they hunted buffalo for 58 straight hours, a total of 350 miles through hostile territory. They went through there, and basically he ended up winning the contest, and he got all this stuff. But as he was going through, he got, I think he got almost, I have to remember what it was, but almost double the amount of bills. Here, I'll tell you, here it is. He completed the buffalo shooting match over exclusive rights to the name, which Cody won by killing 68 animals to Comstock's 48 animals. And, during that time where he had to go through to clear the way for the wagon trains and for the railroad crew and all that, he was basically part of the army. He had to go through a lot of stuff, and in one area there, he performed an exceptional feat of riding as a lone dispatch courier from Fort Larned to Fort Zara, and he was captured and he escaped. He went to Fort Zara, Fort Hayes to Fort Dodge to Fort, and so on and so on. A total of 350 miles in 58 hours through hostile territory, covering the last 35 miles on foot. And in response, the general assigned him to be the chief of scouts. And after all of that, Buffalo Bill went to fight the Civil War. And he did fight the Civil War. And again, he was injured, but he survived all of that. These cards were inserted in Old Judge Gypsy Queen cigarettes. The backs are the checklist. And this is from 1888. And after the war, in let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit here. After the war, he became famous, and he started a show. And in 1883, he founded the Buffalo Bill's Wild West. It was a circus-like attraction, and it traveled the whole country, and then it traveled the world. And in 1887, he actually went to Europe, and they paid his way to go all the way and travel and take all his team, and he had other performers there that he took with him, and they traveled the world. He went to set up at the World's Fair. They had a special independent exhibition just for him and the Buffalo Bill West show. He had, all of the top people that were famous and at that time were there. They were. He also presented this shows for the Pope. He went out to England, all over the world, essentially all over the world, performing his act. He hired people like Calamity Jane, who was one of the people that performed with him there, Annie Oakley, Frank Butler, Gabriel Dumont, Lillian Smith. Plus, he also toured with people like Sitting Bull. So here's Sitting Bull and Buffalo Bill in 1885 in Montreal, Quebec. And Sitting Bull brought 30 of his best Indians, and they performed all these stunts and things that have never been seen before. And They actually made movies of him. One of the first movies they made of him was a silent movie. Here's some of the things, the life of Buffalo Bill. But Buffalo Bill is someone in the history of the United States that needs to be recognized, you know, because he fought against slavery. His father was basically almost killed because of that. And this was his nickname, was his contract to supply buffalo meat. And that was him back in those days. And just a few more pictures of him. I want to show you a little bit more. I want to tell you about him. Is that he was international celebrity. I mean, even Mark Twain talked about him and wrote about him. And in Europe, you know, he became extremely famous there and here. And he was basically one of the main representative, of the United States. And the Wild West show went on the tour after this card was created in 1890. In 1889, 1890, he went to tour Europe. And this was another picture of Buffalo Bill back in the day. And he fought in the Civil War, and he was really an incredible person in the history of the United States, and people really didn't know much about that. And here's a picture of Buffalo Bill's show when they went to Italy with, Sitting Bull, the Indians. You know, he had Annie Oakley, he had all of the sharpshooters, and big show that he put on. And this was back in Italy in 1890, which was just a couple of years from this, when this card was released. So anyway, guys, just this is for Mike Petty. Mike Petty, here it is, the Buffalo Bill Playing Days card. And you see him all dressed up with his uniform there. Just a beautiful card from the 1888 Goodwin Champion set. And, it shows Buffalo Bill, how he looked. And this is a portrait of him done in 1889, just a year after this card was released. And that's what he looked like there. And there he is, a true icon for the United States, an American icon. And just a beautiful card. Look at his the colors on that, his uniform. He's got his whip, his boots, and just out in the plains, Buffalo Bill, champion of the Wild West Hunters. Thank you for watching, guys. Truly appreciate it. And I also want to thank Garrett, Ballpark Memories. Check out his channel. It's awesome. You'll enjoy it. He's got some good stuff on there. And that's the Buffalo Bill story for Mike Petty and the rest of the gang that was watching the live stream last night. Thanks, everyone, for watching. This is Orlando from A Collector's Dream. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have an awesome day.